Phillies kicked off Grapefruit League action today, and, well, I would say that expectations aren't great. And it's funny because it's just based on the offseason and the way that October went. When you factor in that the Philadelphia Phillies were a 96-win team last year, one of the best teams in baseball, ran into the eventual World Series champion, the defending World Series champions. They didn't have a good series. The manager did not manage well. I don't think people should be as down on the Phillies as they are, but I also understand why they are. Because the offseason was terrible. Like, no question about it, it was terrible, and it was capped off by letting a $20 million problem walk, which, now I understand. I did the video, and you can watch it up there, where I suggested, look, just keep the guy, and then I had Bob Cooney on, and he said, no, you can't do that. Bob was actually in the locker room, so he would know. I'm going to take my glasses off because there's a horrible glare. Okay, I don't need glasses for this video. Hit thumbs down for that because I can't see without them. So when you factor in all the moves that were made by Dave Dombrowski this offseason, I think he looks at it as we're running it back, but he's going to sell you like, well, we added a 50 home run guy in Kyle Schwarber. No, you didn't add him, you kept him. Well, we added one of the most versatile catchers in baseball. No, you didn't add him, you kept him. You're hoping that guys like Justin Crawford end up prospering and developing into an everyday major league center fielder. And I love the fact that they let Harrison Bader go because it kind of takes away the option that the Phillies would have of slow playing the Justin Crawford era, which I feel like they've done for a good portion of their guys. Like Brandon Marsh is a prime example of that. The guy's like pushing 30 and he just started hitting lefties last year. But when you factor in a lot of the moves that were made, a lot of them are just like, it felt like they were rearranging chairs on the Titanic. There are some moves, however, that I think that they could make that could improve the club so that you're not facing the same result as you were last October. Now, it is worth mentioning that last October they went into it without their ace and Zach Wheeler, who was going to be out for the entire postseason run. Albeit pitching wasn't their issue in October. It certainly was not. But, you need to factor that in. Zach Wheeler will not be making his opening day start. And I worry that, I really worry that they'll give it to Aaron Nola. But they can't. They have to give it to Christopher Sanchez. He finished second in Cy Young, for Christ's sake. So when you look at the first thing that they can do, and I've been begging for this, and I made a video on it. You can watch it up there. They need to add a starting pitcher. Now, they haven't been really good in this department of adding these fringe starters that could also be relievers. The only one that really panned out was Matt Strahm. And if you remember Matt Strahm's first year, they had him pitching as a starter at first because they just didn't have the bodies. And then he, worked his way back to the bullpen, which was his natural kind of position. But whether it be the Chase Andersons, the Joe Rosses of the world, the guys that are kind of brought in that could be those fringe starters, hasn't really worked out. You can even throw Taijuan Walker in there if you want to, although it is worth bringing up that Taijuan Walker has had two pretty okay years and one brutal year. And even that brutal year, I don't think it was as bad as Aaron Nola's year last year. But they need another starter. Like, this is not even a question. They are going into next season with Zach Wheeler, Christopher Sanchez, Aaron Nola, Jesus Luzardo, and Taijuan Walker. With Zach Wheeler missing opening day, and we don't know, maybe the first month, Andrew Painter will slot in there, but what happens when Zach Wheeler comes back? And giving the nod to Andrew Painter when he didn't exactly earn it in AAA, I think they need another body. Because what I'm worried about is, and you've seen this the past couple off seasons, is Dave Dombrowski goes in with a clear hole in his roster that he will try to patchwork, whether it be, Max Kepler in left, right, center, whatever you want to call it, right? He signs him as an outfielder. Whether it be Jordan Romano last year, who he couldn't quit. The fact that Jordan Romano finished the season in a uniform is a joke. The guy was brutal. But he tries to do these patchwork jobs, and it doesn't pan out. And what ends up happening is he has to go and address it at the trade deadline, where he usually ends up giving up a decent enough prospect to end up facilitating this hole that he didn't address in, January, February, December, October, whatever, November. And I fear that that's what's going to happen. And with starting pitching always being a premium, Yeah, I don't like that. So I'm not asking you to go out there and sign, Lucas Giolito. Although that would be cool. I'm asking you to sign a guy that can just eat up some innings with the fifth starter spot and push Andrew Painter, good veteran presence, guy that can pitch out of the bullpen. The thing is, you have to hit on it. And it's funny that, Dave Dombrowski comes out and says that he doesn't know if Bryce Harper can be elite. Shit, I don't know if Dave Dombrowski can be elite because the moves that he has made as the president of baseball ops under the Phillies. Look, first offseason, I think he did great, right? He signs Kyle Schwarber. I wasn't a fan of that move at the time. Boy, was I wrong. He gives Zach Wheeler the contract extension. But then ever since then, it hasn't. And I have to bring up the Christopher Sanchez extension as well because that was a masterstroke. But ever since then, it's been really, really bad moves that have not worked out, probably capped off by the Aaron Nola 7-year contract when he got scared that the Braves were going to match that or give him more, and it resulted in Ranger Suarez leaving. Does anybody like that Aaron Nola contract right now? I sure as shit don't. I think Aaron Nola will end up bouncing back because if you look at his career numbers, it's an up and down process with him. Last year was the down season. This year should be the up season. And by up, I mean like a 3.5 ERA. But they need another body in there because they don't have one at AAA. They don't have a starter that they can bring up to push anybody. They just need a veteran in there. And at this point, this late in the offseason, it shouldn't be that hard to get somebody from the bargain bin. But you have to, once again, hit on them. I don't want the Chase Andersons. I don't want the Joe Rosses. I want a guy that can be productive. Like, go find a Matt Strahm-esque player. They're out there. He needs to identify it. He's been in baseball how long? He needs to be the guy to identify it. And Caleb Cotham has to have a say in this because he is one of the best pitching coaches in baseball. The other thing is get an extra right-handed hitter. I mean, you don't have a great bench. You're going with cheap options. And you need an extra righty off the bench that can go out there and give you something. Now, the name that's popular is Rhys Hoskins. He wasn't very good last year for Milwaukee, but if he's willing to come off the bench, I'm all for it to give Bryce Harper a spell at first base. It's also, I feel like I keep saying, I've said 15 times in this video, it's also worth mentioning. Bryce Harper, one of the things that I love about him is his versatility and the fact that he is willing to move. And I'm not saying he moves at a first base permanently, but if you bring in a guy like Rhys Hoskins who will give you some pop, what you're able to do there is play Rhys Hoskins at first base, and if Adolis Garcia does not work out, you can put Bryce in right field, although I doubt they do that because for whatever reason, Rob Thompson does not like using guys' versatility. You've got JT Realmuto, who's been run into the ground behind the plate, and he can play first base. He rarely does it under Rob Thompson. It was one of the only things that Joe Girardi actually did better than Rob Thompson was he would actually give JT's knees a day off by playing him at first base. Use the versatility. Use it to your advantage. But one of the things you need, though, is a righty off the bench or just some pop, some outfielder depth. If they can use Bryce Harper in the outfield as a depth piece where it's just to spell guys, it would go, I think, a long way. Because right now, they don't have it. I can't believe I'm saying this, but they let Weston Wilson walk. And I don't think Weston Wilson is all that great, but they don't have depth in the outfield at all. And the biggest thing that they can do to improve this team, and this is as simple as writing it down, is the lineup. This blows my mind that Rob Thompson went on record and saying, yeah, what we're going to do is pretty much the same thing as last year. Trey Turner, Kyle Schwarber, Bryce Harper, Alec Boehm hitting fourth. I don't despise Alec Boehm at all. I know a lot of fans are ready to just drive him to the airport for like a cheesesteak and a Wawa gift card. I'm not there yet. I think for $10 million, he's a pretty good third baseman. But that is asinine. That is beyond dumb. Beyond dumb. It's almost as dumb as having a 48 home run guy hit leadoff because, quote unquote, he's comfortable. When he was hitting 208. Okay, well, if he's hitting 208 and that's comfort, let's get him uncomfortable. You saw what happened when you just bumped him down one spot in the order. He finished second in the MVP. This is what I don't get about Rob Thompson. And if the move is coming from upstairs, then fine. But Rob Thompson has been in baseball too long to not figure out that if you want to protect Bryce Harper and get him maybe back to the elite status that some people question, maybe he should have protection better than Alec Boehm. And one of the ways to do that is moving Kyle Schwarber behind Bryce Harper. What's one of the biggest issues that we have with Alec Boehm? His ability or his lack of being able to not hit into double plays. The guy consistently double play, double play, double play. Okay, well then take that out of it and swap Alec Bohm and Kyle Schwarber. Have Alec Bohm hit second. His on-base percentage is good. He's basically a doubles hitter anyway. You know, he'll hit you like 20 home runs, but like he's not wowing anybody with power. To have that guy hitting cleanup is a fucking joke. This is not rocket science. I don't want to hear the metrics. I don't want to hear the advanced XVLORP and all that crap. This is as simple as like basic thinking. Big guy hit ball far. Let's try to maximize how many times he could have the ability to have the bases loaded. The idea that Rob Thompson saying, well, I want them hitting the first inning, that's dumb. That's as dumb as saying, well, you know, one of the reasons why we have Kyle Schwarber hitting leadoff is because we like starting the game off 1-0. Yeah, that's cool. You know what's even cooler than that? Starting the game off 3-0, 4-0 even. You know, that's pretty cool too. How many times do we see Kyle Schwarber hit leadoff home runs when he was hitting leadoff, and your immediate thought was like, oh, it was cool, but like it'd be cooler if people were on base. That'd be cool too. This isn't like a situation where you're crumbling the other team. Trust me, the other team was thrilled to see Kyle Schwarber only hit a solo home run. They were terrified last year when they bumped him down one spot to second. Move the guy to cleanup. This is ridiculous. Imagine what we'd be saying if Ryan Howard was hitting second in the lineup back in 2008. It's dumb. You have a guy that can drive in 50 home runs and 140 runs batted in, and you've had him hitting second and first his entire Phillies career. Switch it up. It would go a long way. You could actually have probably won 100 games if you did it that way. You might have been in the number 1 seed. Now, I don't know how much it would have mattered because the Dodgers were a unit. But if you're looking at just simple ways you can improve this Phillies roster, that's the biggest one. Move Kyle Schwarber, the big guy who hits the ball out of the ballpark, move him to cleanup. You're reinventing the wheel. You're trying to be the smartest guy in the room, and it's backfiring on you. And again, if this isn't coming from Rob Thompson, this is coming from upstairs, from the analytical nerds that went to Dartmouth, fine. But tell them to kick rocks and pound sand. It has not worked out. Like, it worked out in the sense of, like, okay, he's productive, but, like, is he going to be worse? Are you going to tell me that Kyle Schwarber's going to be so much worse? All of a sudden, his power just evaporates. All of a sudden, Kyle Schwarber doesn't end up hitting 40 home runs plus? Find that hard to believe. Let me know what your easy solution to improving this roster is right now. Hit thumbs up if you like this video. Smash that thumbs down button if you thought it sucked. Let me know what you think in the comments section. For comments, I'm probably only going to answer channel members. So support the channel by becoming a channel member. I'd appreciate it. Subscribing is cool too. I am burning pizza right now. I really got to go. But I appreciate you watching, and go Phillies.